to the elections. How scared are the libs? Well, judging by what happened over the weekend, I would venture to guess really, really freaking scared. Why is that? Why do I have that premonition of how libs are behaving? Well, because they trotted out the most popular among the libs. Yes, President Obama was out stumping for candidates in both Virginia and New Jersey, both gubernatorial candidates who, yeah, I guess have a lead in the polling, but if we conservatives have recognized anything in the last several years, the polling is often very, very wrong. And, well, it just goes to show you that you need to get out and vote whenever it is that you can vote, because in so many states you can vote literally whenever you want. But the bottom line here is Barack Obama, of all people, was stumping for the gubernatorial candidates in Virginia and New Jersey. Now, why does that matter? Well, if you're not caught up on how politics generally works in those states, they pretty dang blew most of the time. Glenn Youngkin is the exception in Virginia, but for the majority of the modern political era, Virginia has been reliably blue in all up and down the ballot. So has New Jersey, reliably blue up and down the ballot. The reason why it's significant that President Obama is stumping in those two places is because, well, wait a minute, are they scared? Are they nervous? Are they so afraid of potentially losing what are otherwise these big blue strongholds that they need to put the most popular Democrat in the country out on those campaign trails? Well, apparently, to me, even though I disagree with everything Obama says pretty much all the time, it is a good thing. It is a good sign to see him feeling like it's necessary to go out to these usually reliably blue places. Now, what's most interesting about this, and well, there's several very interesting components of this, is who he's running against, or who he's stumping for and advocating against in the great state of Virginia. We talked about this last week, but I think it's even more evident and abundantly funny now, considering that Obama is taken to the stage. The candidates in this, if you remember, not all that long ago, not even a year ago, actually probably a little over a year ago, my timeline's a little bit off, President Obama was telling a group of men why they should vote for Kamala Harris. And the answer, the reason that he gave is actually quite interesting. Now, I'm going to play this clip, but I did ask producer Glenn to either speed it up or chop out his pauses or something, because the man takes a minute and a half to say something that you could fit into 15 seconds. So we'll see what producer Glenn did with this clip. But watch Barack Obama telling people how to vote and why they should vote for Kamala Harris. Play this cut one.
So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences, who's had to work harder and do more and overcome.
Producer Glenn, I think you could cut even more of that. But believe it or not, that clip was 1:12, and he cut it down to like 30 seconds. But if you missed it, President Obama said, "Oh, it needs to, take precedent, priority, people who grew up like us." What he's actually saying is, hey, vote for the black person because they understand you better than the other person in the race does. Not talking about policy, not talking about ideology, not talking about anything other than race, because President Obama loves to stoke the race hatred in this country. Remember, race relations got worse under Obama, not better. All that's to say is, I'm sure you know who's running for governor in the state of Virginia. President Obama now, though, is changing his tune. Hey, don't vote for the immigrant black lady. Vote for Abigail Spanberg instead, because, well, remember all the things I said about race previously? Just go ahead and forget all of that and instead vote for the white lady, because that's how I keep my corruption scandal going. Interestingly enough, President Obama has backed off of the vote for race and race only and is now going an entirely different direction, because it just so happens that the person in the race that is not his party is a black lady in Winsome Sears. I'm not all, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm a big fan of Winsome Sears and think she's a great advocate for freedom and the American experiment. But President Obama does not like that, which has prompted some hilarious political cartoons, which I will show you now. This is President Obama basically outlining what I just said. Into the 2024, we must support black women. And all of a sudden, now, beat it, black lady. I've got this other lady here who we don't have any clips of her, but if you're familiar, if you're a fan of the Jimmy Neutron show, I should have had producer Glenn pull this. Miss Fowler from Jimmy Neutron kind of reminds me of her. But get out of here, black lady. We don't care about you anymore, even though just a year ago I was saying vote for this lady because she happens to be black. There is no reason for pulling this up. I just thought it was really interesting and funny and kind of indicative of how President Obama thinks about things, this kind of like brutalist mindset of, well, we have to say stupid things and do ridiculous, stupid things because that's the way that the stupid voters look at things, which is how he thinks. Not how I think, but it's how he thinks. The type of person who thinks that way also thinks, well, in a structural standpoint, in a similar manner. What do I mean by that? This is apropos of nothing, not even talking about elections, but I thought this was funny floating around when we're speaking about President Obama. The President Obama Presidential Library, which we've talked about numerous times here. I want to pull up this graphic. This is a side-by-side. If you're looking at the screen on your right is a picture of the President's Library, the Obama Foundation's library, which for some reason looks like a trash can that you'd find at a theme park. On the left is what appears to be its inspiration. It's just a North Korean border outpost, I think. I don't know if President Obama took the exact inspiration from this North Korean outpost, but it would appear to be so. I cannot verify that with any sort of journalistic integrity, but I would imagine that that's where he got his inspiration and his idea for his own presidential library. Again, I recognize that's apropos of nothing. It's not related to anything we're talking about. I just think it's funny, and I don't know. I like making fun of Obama, partly because I think he's very scared that he's actually going to be held accountable for the things that he did in office, because the precedent has been set that you can arrest presidents like the libs did with President Trump.